So here we are in Phoenix, Arizona at a blogging conference called Product Launch Formula, and I'm a long way from home because I live in British Columbia. We flew to Phoenix, and when I got here I met Shelle Wells from Preparedness Mama, and this is Shelle. Shelle,
hi.
This is the Joy Blee Farm audience.
Nice to meet you.
I was talking to Shelle for a few minutes before we turned on the camera, and Shelle told me a story, and I'd like you to hear this story. Could you tell us the story again, Shelle?
So many years ago, I was a single mom who worked in corporate. I was in banking, and every morning I had to be at work at 7:30, so I'd bundle my kids up and take them to my mom's house. She would give them breakfast and get them dressed and get them off to school. She'd take them to school. And over time, it became worrisome to me that I didn't know what they were wearing. And that the police may come to me one day and say, your children are lost or your child is lost. Give us a description of them. And I wouldn't be able to say what color of shirt they were wearing that day, which I know sounds kind of silly, but it was my worry that I would be like this bad mom, that I would be able to say, well, he's wearing a blue shirt today.
That'd be hard.
And so it actually did happen to me when I was working in this job. One day, my son left school and didn't go to the usual place he was supposed to go. He actually walked 1.5 miles back to my mother's house, and they thought he was lost. They thought he'd been taken because he didn't show up after school. So they called the police, and there was a big search in our town, and they called me at work, and they said, he's missing, he's lost, you need to come home. So they rushed me home, and
Did they think he had been kidnapped?
they thought he'd been kidnapped because no one knew where he was.
That would be terrifying.
Yeah. And I think the school said what he was wearing that day.
Wow.
And that was sort of my turning point. And he wasn't stolen. He just had decided he didn't understand where he was supposed to go after school, and he walked. But that was my turning point to realize that I couldn't continue doing what I was doing. That it was too tough.
And that happened 25 years ago?
It actually happened on the day of a big earthquake in California.
Oh my goodness.
Once we found him, I think it's I don't remember what it's called. In 1987, there was a very big earthquake in California. And after we found him, I was home early that day from work, and then there was that big earthquake.
Wow, that would be really tough.
Yeah, and so yes, it's long. He's a grown man now.
So there was no cell phones then?
No cell phones.
So you couldn't just get mom to take a picture or anything?
I couldn't.
So today's a little different.
Today is different.
What would you do different today if you were a mom in the situation of, say, some of the people listening today?
I guess I'd probably snap a picture of him, have my mom snap a picture of him, if I was worried about that, or have her text me what he was wearing, or some way. But ultimately, what I would do is I wouldn't ever put myself in that position again. After that, I started my own business, and I worked at home doing bookkeeping.
So self-employment solved that problem.
Yeah, it did. I decided that corporate wasn't for me. That I wasn't willing to trade being with my children for that corporate. So.
And today, roll forward the timeline.
Here we are.
You are a blogger.
I am.
And
like you,
a self-employed woman.
Right.
You've got your own blog. You've also got, it's not just a blog, but you've got a business because you have your own products.
I do that full time.
You're a writer.
Right.
You teach. And so what started as just a bookkeeping business has expanded and
into something much funner than bookkeeping.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm married to an accountant.
Yes.
I think we used to joke about Robin being an accountant, and I was the English major, and English is so much more fun than accounting.
Yeah.
Right? Not that he was boring, mind you. I'm not saying he's boring. So, moving along about Preparedness Mama, that's preparednessmama.com if you want to go have a look. So you have courses there, right? about
Right
preparedness?
now I'm developing one about putting together, I call it a quick win emergency kit.
Quick win emergency
Yeah,
kit.
and it's basically for somebody who knows they need an emergency kit, but just hasn't done it.
Okay.
And so it's going to help you get it together quickly so that you just have it done, you have it ready. And then it'll help you also decide if you need it to be something bigger than that.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. Now, I know you have a garden.
I do.
How big is your garden, and does that fit in with your preparedness?
Yes. My garden right now is 30 by 40 feet, and this is the second year. We moved from Oregon to Texas, so I have a new garden. I have raised beds, 8 of them that are 4 feet by 8 feet. And that's where the bulk of my garden's being grown. Some of it still in the old, the ground.
Right.
And I have most of my herbs are grown in containers.
Okay.
And and then ultimately the goal is for me to be able to grow enough food to preserve so that I can it or dehydrate it or freeze it.
Self-sufficiency.
For self-sufficiency, yes. So that I can control what's in it, what's been sprayed on it, and so that if we have any kind of an economic downturn, I'll be able to provide for us.
So that's a little different than what I thought preparedness was. I thought preparedness was you have this bunker for doomsday. So that's not what you're talking about. You're not a doomsday prepper?
No.
I thought all preppers were doomsday.
No.
Am I mistaken?
Yes.
I actually knew that.
You know that. So
go ahead.
My kind of preparedness is more about self-reliance.
Okay.
So that if there is an economic downturn or if something happens, you would be able to basically take care of yourself and not rely on the government.
That's good.
And not have to worry about evacuating to a center. You
mean a FEMA center?
Yes, you could take care of yourself if something happens.
That's good. That's what homesteading is.
It is.
Homesteading is similar.
They're very closely related. I think.
Yeah,
they
I
are.
think so too.
Yeah.
I think of homesteading as being like one step beyond prepping, but then I always thought of prepping was like Y2K, where you buy the dried food and stick it in cans, and that, well, if you could grow the dried food first, then that would be.
And I suppose some people do it that way. I don't buy like a year's supply of food at one time. I basically try to put away enough food for a year for our family.
Yeah.
Like in the olden days where they would put as much in store as they could for the lean times.
Okay.
It's the same sort of thing that I
like
try
our
to do.
grandmothers used to do.
Right.
Excellent. So if you want to know more about Shelle, well, you do want to know more about Shelle, don't you? I know you do. Go to preparednessmama.com and you can find out more about Shelle's ways of preparing, which are a little different than doomsday preppers, quite a bit different, more in the homesteading vein, like I know you like. Shelle does have some things about herbs on her blog, and she also has a couple of ebooks and some courses that I think will interest you. So go over to preparednessmama.com and have a look.
Thanks
Thanks
you.
for
It's
being
good to
here.
meet you.